there is a stretch of water between two continents that has never been crossed. Not by road, not by rail, not by anything permanent. The Red Sea, one of the most strategically important bodies of water on the planet. A narrow strip of ocean separating Africa from the Arabian Peninsula, and yet, for all of human history, you could not drive across it. That is about to change. Right now, engineers and governments are seriously discussing a bridge. Not a small one. A bridge so massive, so expensive, so geopolitically complex that it would make the Channel Tunnel look like a weekend project. The price tag? Somewhere around $100 billion. The distance? Nearly 30 kilometers of open water, extreme depths, volcanic seabeds, and some of the most unpredictable marine conditions on Earth. But here's the part nobody talks about. The bridge itself might be the easy problem. Because the Red Sea is not just a body of water. It's a wall. A biological wall. One that has kept two entirely different marine worlds completely separated for millions of years. On one side, the Mediterranean. On the other, the Indian Ocean. And every engineer, every government official, every economist talking about this project is focused on concrete, steel, and money. Almost none of them are asking what happens to the water underneath. What happens when you start drilling into a seabed that hasn't been touched in a geological age? What happens when the currents shift? What happens when the wall finally breaks? This is not just an infrastructure story. This is something much bigger. The idea didn't come from nowhere. For decades, economists and engineers have looked at the map and seen the same thing, a gap that makes no sense. Two continents, separated by less than 30 kilometers of water at the narrowest point. And yet, to move goods, people, or vehicles between the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa, you have to go around, through ports, across shipping lanes, through delays, tariffs, and logistics chains that add days to journeys that should take hours. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait. That's the crossing point. The narrowest gap between Yemen on one side and Djibouti on the other. It looks simple on a map. It is anything but. The strait is one of the busiest shipping lanes on the planet. Roughly 20,000 vessels pass through it every single year. Oil tankers, container ships, military vessels, all of them squeezing through a corridor barely wide enough to manage the traffic. And that's before you consider what's underneath. The seabed at Bab el-Mandeb is not flat. It is fractured, volcanic, geologically active in ways that most bridge projects never have to account for. The East African Rift, one of the largest tectonic fault systems on Earth, runs directly through this region. The ground here is literally pulling itself apart. Slowly, quietly, but consistently. And yet, in 2024, serious feasibility studies began circulating between governments. Saudi Arabia, Djibouti, Ethiopia, backed by investment groups with ties to Gulf sovereign wealth funds. $100 billion was not a fantasy number. It was an opening offer. But the engineers who first surveyed the seabed came back with something nobody expected. Something that quietly delayed the entire project for months. The survey team went down in late 2024. A joint geological crew, engineers, marine specialists, and seabed analysts contracted by a Gulf-backed infrastructure consortium. Their job was straightforward. Map the floor, assess the rock, confirm whether a foundation was even possible. They expected hard data. What they got was something that took weeks to fully explain. The seabed at the Bab el-Mandeb wasn't just fractured. It was actively moving. Not in the dramatic, earthquake sense, but in the slow, grinding, millimeter by millimeter way that makes structural engineers go quiet in meetings. The rift beneath the strait is widening at roughly 16 millimeters per year. That sounds small, until you're designing a structure meant to last 100 years. Over a century, that drift adds up to nearly 2 meters of lateral movement directly beneath the foundation points. No bridge in history has been engineered to absorb that kind of slow-motion stress across open water. The team filed their report. It was not made public, but fragments leaked through engineering forums and regional infrastructure publications. enough for independent geologists to piece together what had been found. One consultant who reviewed the data described the strait as, and this is a direct characterization from his published commentary, among the most structurally hostile marine environments ever proposed for a fixed crossing. The project didn't stop. It adapted. New foundation designs were commissioned. Deeper pilings. Flexible joint systems borrowed from earthquake-prone bridge architecture in Japan and Turkey. The engineers said it was solvable, but there was a second problem. One that had nothing to do with geology. And this one, nobody had a design solution for. The second problem had a name. The Red Sea is one of the most biologically unique marine environments on the planet. It is warm, hypersaline, and almost entirely enclosed. Its coral ecosystems are among the most heat-resistant in the world. Its fish populations, its migratory patterns, its entire food web, evolved in near isolation for millions of years. And the Bab el-Mandeb Strait is its gatekeeper. The water that flows through that narrow gap is not just water. It's a carefully balanced exchange. Deep cold currents moving in one direction. Warmer surface water moving in the other. A circulation system so precise that marine biologists have spent decades studying just this one corridor. When the survey team's geological report leaked, a separate group of researchers got very quiet. Marine ecologists at the University of Djibouti and the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia had been independently monitoring the strait's ecosystem for years. Their concern wasn't the bridge itself. It was the construction process. To place foundations in water this deep, this geologically unstable, you don't just drop concrete. You blast. You drill. You displace millions of cubic meters of seabed material over years of active construction. And the Red Sea does not forgive disruption easily. A 2023 internal assessment, later referenced in a regional environmental policy brief, estimated that major seabed drilling at the strait could trigger sediment plumes large enough to smother reef systems up to 40 kilometers away. 40 kilometers. That's not a construction side effect. That's an ecological event. The project leads reviewed the assessment. They did not commission a follow-up study. Instead, they hired a different team. And that team came back with a conclusion that contradicted almost everything the first group had found. The second team was not independent. Three of its lead consultants had previously worked on infrastructure projects directly funded by the same Gulf consortium backing the bridge. That connection was not hidden. But it was not announced either. Their environmental impact report ran 340 pages. Its conclusion fits on one line. Construction risks are manageable within acceptable international thresholds. That phrase, manageable within acceptable thresholds, became the document that moved the project forward. It was cited in government briefings, referenced in investment prospectuses, repeated in press releases across 4 countries. The first team's findings were never formally refuted. They were simply not mentioned again. But here is where the story shifts. Because while governments were exchanging reports and investors were modeling returns, something was already happening at the strait. Not because of the bridge. Because of the preparation for the bridge. In early 2025, preliminary marine survey vessels began operating continuously in the strait. Acoustic mapping equipment. Underwater drilling probes, seismic sensors anchored into the seabed. The equipment was necessary for planning, but the sound it produced traveled. Underwater acoustic disturbance in a confined marine corridor is not a theoretical concern. It is a documented ecological stressor. And the strait at Bab el-Mandeb is narrow enough that there is nowhere for marine life to go. Fishermen working out of the port of Obok in Djibouti began noticing it first. Not the equipment. Not the reports. The catch. It was dropping not gradually. Not seasonally. Sharply. Consistently. In ways that did not match any pattern they had seen in 30 years on that water. One of the older fishermen said something that didn't make sense at the time, but it would make complete sense very soon. The old fisherman said the fish had stopped talking. That's how he described it. not a scientific observation, not a data point. Just 30 years of instinct compressed into one sentence. Fish communicate through sound, not in ways humans easily detect, but in ways that govern feeding, migration, spawning, and survival. The acoustic landscape of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait had functioned like a highway of biological signals for millions of years. The survey equipment drowned it out completely. When marine biologists from a Djibouti-based research station finally correlated the fishing data with the acoustic monitoring logs, the pattern was immediate and undeniable. The periods of sharpest catch decline mapped almost perfectly onto the periods of highest underwater survey activity. The fish weren't gone. They were displaced, disoriented, pushed out of migration corridors they had used for generations by noise levels that made biological navigation impossible. But here is what nobody had modeled. The Red Sea circulation system, that precise exchange of deep cold water and warm surface currents, is partially regulated by the behavior of large marine populations. Remove the fish from their corridors, and you don't just lose the fish. You begin to alter the current behavior itself. Subtly, slowly, but permanently. $100 billion bridge built over a strait whose ecosystem had already been destabilized before a single foundation was poured. The project is still moving forward. The investment is still flowing. And the strait is still narrowing, not just geologically, but biologically, in ways that no feasibility study has fully accounted for. The bridge may get built. What it gets built over may no longer be the same sea. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe. There are more of them than you think.